And I have copies of the Charlie Project in front of me. Sooner or later, I'll get to the past the photos. Hello, y'all. Welcome in. Welcome in.
Hello, Dee.
Hello, Ed. So, Chance Engelberg.
Yeah.
Ed. Oh, wait. I don't want to mute that. Haha. It's awfully weird hearing yourself come from yourself.
That's weird.
You know what I mean?
I've done that with a live show before. Yeah.
Have it watching it over on one side and
there's a delay and it's like, who's talking?
So he went missing 2019 August the 6th of 2019 from Terrytown, Nebraska. Endangered missing male, white. Birth date was 12/3 of 1993.
Yeah.
1 second. I'm going to do one thing. Let's see if it's going to slow me down any.
That's him with this child.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
People understand and realize. Hey, Mama Bear. Hey, Lisa.
Hello, Lisa. Lisa.
He was 25 years of age when he went missing, 195 pounds, and he was 5'11". The day he went missing, the descriptive clothing was a short-sleeved button-down Wrangler shirt, blue Wrangler jeans, a belt, and an NRCA with an NRCA buckle with a belt. Roper boots, and a black and white trucker cap. He's a Caucasian male with brown hair, blue eyes. Engelberg has a scar on his hip.
Yeah.
And you can jump in at any time.
That all sounds accurate to me. I knew that he was not very old. Of course, I didn't remember exactly how old he was, but that all seems accurate to me. Yeah.
Engelberg was last seen in Gering, Nebraska, Gering, Nebraska, on July 6th, 2019. He lived in Moorcroft, Wyoming, with his wife and his baby son. But the day they spent the day golfing and gathering with relatives, which was the in-laws of Chance's. According to his wife, they went to her grandparents' house and picked up some things, but in the driveway at 7:30 p.m., Engelberg got out of the car and walked away, never to return. Engelberg's wife last spoke to him at 7:46. He told her he was walking south, but he had also spoke to a friend and said he was walking north towards Wyoming, where he lived. At 9:08 p.m., his phone sent a text that made no sense. It was a series of numbers and emojis. Engelberg did not normally use emojis, and his mother thinks that the text was sent by someone else.
Yeah.
His cell phone last pinged off the tower of North Country Road 19 near the Riverview Golf Course, just west of Scotts Bluff, Nebraska. The phone was turned off shortly after his last contact. A thunderstorm went through the area at 9 p.m. Engelberg's wife thought he had probably gone into a nearby building to take shelter from the weather. Her grandfather went out looking for him, but could not find him. He was last seen on surveillance video walking alone at the intersection of Terry Boulevard and Stable Club Road in Terrytown subdivision at 10 p.m. The day he has, to this day, he's never been seen or heard from again.
Yep.
You asked us for our thoughts on it. I've always, I don't know. I always thought, okay, well, if he went into the river, sooner or later he'll wash up. And now we're hearing, well, it could be he washed up from the flooding or whenever he went into the river.
Could be.
Someone was, the friend of ours also told me to go look at that, but that could be what happened, is he got swept away by the flooding.
Yeah, I would say that this is, you should know, I think I can say this now, and maybe it's even obvious if people go back and listen to the interview that I did with his mother, seems like yesterday, but that must have been 2020 or something now.
Yeah.
I think you can read between the lines that his side of the family, thought that there was foul play. That he went out, started walking around, saw the storm, went back to where he started at her in-laws, her parents' place. Something happened, and a bunch of people covered it up. Okay? Certainly there were not any facts, I think, to dispute that. But it was not an idea that I bought into, at all, hardly at all. Like, I'm not going to totally rule it out, but it just didn't seem very likely to me. And I did make the prediction that this would not be foul play if it were solved. Although I said that I had the idea that maybe, he tried walking back to Wyoming. He got to that river and tried to cross it instead of going to some place where there was actually a bridge or something and got swept away. It seems that I got that part of it wrong. I can live with that. Still doesn't mean that it couldn't have been some sort of washing away. I think when we start thinking about it, if it was something like that, then river can breach its banks. There can be flash floods that come out of nowhere, especially if the ground is very dry, and he gets swept away. What I would say about this, just from covering like 380 disappearances, is this is one of the few disappearances that we might actually have to blame on weather. It's very rare, but it very well could be one of those. And it very well could be that if we're inclined to believe this wasn't foul play, that he's out there and maybe got struck by lightning, or he's walking through the woods and a limb fell on him, or he was trying to climb up someplace and it was slippy and he fell and hit his head, or any of these things would then be caused by weather. It's fairly rare. People do get killed by weather, tornadoes and things, but the way it's sounding to me right now is that I guess he did try to walk back to Wyoming. He said that's what he was going to do, as much as crazy as everybody might have thought that was. And had the storm not hit, it very well may be that he doesn't go missing. Maybe he doesn't make it the whole way back to Wyoming. Maybe he gets about part of the way and goes, oh man, that's really far. And then he calls somebody to pick him up. But I think we have to believe that if the weather had been different that evening into that night, that he doesn't go missing. It's just how these things work out sometimes.
You really would have to think that with this one is if the weather wouldn't have happened, him doing the walk away, because he did the walk away, the walk off, as everyone talks about.
Mm-hmm.
If he would have made it from point A to point B, would have he made it on time? Or would he have made it if it wouldn't have been for the weather? I find it crazy.
It's a long ways to walk. I did not have not looked at the map probably since I did that episode, to be honest with everybody. I probably will take some time now that, we have a better an idea where his remains were found to take a look at all that. But it's a long way. And, the sense I get of it was that the chance, just conjecture here, let his ego get in the way of his better thinking. They ticked him off. Okay, I'm going to show you. You don't want me around? Fine. I'll walk back to Wyoming. That's what people do sometimes. You can't, it's some sort of rage, very emotionally inflicted here. The emotions running high. He's there with his wife, his child, and whatever happened there, they weren't getting along. I think it had something to do with how he switched jobs or something like that. I mean, who the hell wants to hear that from their in-laws? I've never been married, and I don't want to hear that from anybody.
This is true.
And, he just let his emotions get the best of him. Now, maybe we shouldn't be surprised given his age. It's nothing against Chance personally, but this happens. I think that even though we're all humans and we're looking at these things and we're thinking, well, that's just not rational. Nobody really, people were making choices based on emotions all the time, making all sorts of stupid decisions all the time on their emotions. But then they're looking at Chance Engelbert and saying he's stupid. You should never do that. Meanwhile, they themselves in their lives have made all sorts of stupid choices based on emotion. It's just who we are as humans, and it's weird how we ignore that when we look at disappearances like Chance's.
Well, then, yeah.
This is, once again, because I know a lot about plane crashes. Lots of plane crashes have happened the same way with pilots who are flying these jets because of something that had happened, whether it had to do with the job or there was a strike or they were behind because they were late taking off and everything. They let their emotions get in the way of their better judgment, and they got themselves and their passengers killed. Common.
Well, it's 219 miles, 3-hour drive.
Stupid. Well, I mean, what's he doing? Really?
I had to look.
It's horrible. I feel horrible. But we can't bring Chance back. So all we can try to do is learn from this. And for everybody watching and listening out there, don't do this. Don't act like Chance seemingly did that evening. Don't do that. I understand he had every right to be ticked off. Every right in the world. As an adult, he had every right to be ticked off with what was said to him. Okay? Every right in the world. You got to handle it a different way. Doesn't mean you had to stick around there or anything, but walking around town like they caught him on video and everything else, not smart. I mean, if you would have seen his probability of going missing in his life, it would have been almost just barely above zero. As soon as he, charting the, just timeline is going on, it's just next to zero. As soon as he walked off, it went like this. It went right up. And as he kept walking farther and farther away, still emotionally very conflicted and everything else in the storm, the probability just starts, it's the graph is almost going straight up, for something bad to happen. You have to realize this in your life. It's totally avoidable. Like I said, I'm not inclined to believe this, to think that somebody killed him and left him out there or anything. It just, Doesn't seem very probable, you know. So
Yeah, I really think it's due to the weather. I mean, hearing your thoughts on it and hearing Andrew's thoughts on it, I have to say, the weather killed this young man. And being stubborn and pigheaded and being a typical male. Throw that out there.
a lot of women do this. Let's not get into that. A lot of women making and all sorts of people of all ages making a lot of decisions.
Yeah.
You know, and once again, I think that the way I assess this, the way I understand what it was described to me, what happened that day, that evening, if we are to believe it, is that he had every right to be ticked off about how he was treated, but doing what he did, not smart.
No.
And everybody, once again, we can't bring Chance back. We have to learn from things. And then from the other side, for you and me, Dee, who analyze these disappearances and take an interest in them and want to solve them and everything, we have to be smart in continuing to reinforce for all of those people out there that people do walk off for all sorts of smart and stupid reasons based on drugs, based on mental health issues, based on emotion, based on pride, based on just ego. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Oh, yeah, I'm going to walk back. People do these things. And all these other people out there, whether it's the police and private investigators and all those people on Reddit at 3 a.m, you know, need to understand that it doesn't have to be conspiracy land all the time.
Running Bear, we are still waiting for the DNA evidence,
Mhm.
but from what me and Ed have both read, there was enough stuff left to lead you to believe that it was him.
Right. This is not somebody on Web Sleuths that went out and said this. This was a news station from Nebraska that said items located near the remains, whatever remains are there, could be connected to Chance.
I mean,
Yeah.
Hi, Doodle.
So,
Doodle, you missed the lecture.
yeah.
Sorry.
The people so often go to, oh, something bad happened. I understand why family does it. Once again, they're also emotionally compromised, just like Chance was. And they want somebody to blame and everything else. I'm willing to give them all the breaks in the world. But for everybody else, we have to be more objective about this.
Yeah.
That's just the way we have to be. And too many people want these things to be foul play. They want them, you know, they need for them to be foul play for whatever weird reason. I like being right. You know, I like being able to predict these things, and I know that I'm not going to get this one totally 100% correct. But I was always pretty sure that this is most likely not foul play and that had something to do with an accident, making a bad choice, the weather, along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, after, like I said, hearing you out, hearing her out, which I don't think you and her have ever talked about it together, at least not in public.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah. You both are coming from the same source and the same place with the same facts. So, yeah.
It's like when I was with, when I did that interview with Jason Blair for Native American disappearances, and he was giving me some of these examples of these two teenagers who were at their homes and ran off never to be seen again. And everybody's like, well, maybe she got scooped up and got sex trafficked. And I'm like, teenagers run off into the woods in the middle of the night and they don't have a flashlight or anything. The odds of them hitting their head and dying are probably pretty high. Why does it always have to be somebody else involved? Why?
And I agree with that too. That's the reason why with the Sebastian case, I've always been very, I guess you'd say, Switzerland on it, because it's one of those, until we have something, all we can do is put out his name, what he looked like, his brief description of who he is.
Well, I know when I look at you, I always think cuckoo clocks. So there you go.
Cuckoo clocks.
Look at you being Switzerland. Yeah.
So
That's very sad. If his family or his mother, who was the guest, they see this, I just want them to know. I feel horrible. And of course, I'm going to talk about this next live show, and I'll mention it. I've already recorded tomorrow's episode, but I'll certainly mention it next Friday for next Friday's episode. But I feel horrible that now is the time to assess what happened and learn from it. This is the time.
And try to repair whatever has been broken between them and Bailey and that baby.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know what's going on there I know at the time of the interview it wasn't good. I don't know what's transpired since then.
I don't either. All I know is I listened to yours, and then I listened to your podcast, and then I listened to The Vanished. The Vanished had Chance's mom on it. And, you could tell that the family believed that they had something to do with it. And it was very saddening.
Hey, as facts change, theories change. So, if I'm going to, if it comes out in the next 24 hours that they found, they found his remains in his skull there, and there's a bullet hole in there like it was for Janelle Matthews. And of course, all this goes out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, it does. And I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. I'll admit it. And we can talk about this next Thursday. But until that happens, I'm pretty secure in this idea that this is, I remember one time I was in Orlando. I was going to be playing in a disc golf tournament over there, and I got caught in a storm that blew through on a disc golf course in Orlando, and there was no shelter anywhere around me. Just like came out of nowhere. I was not checking my phone. I don't even know exactly how it happened. It was years ago. It must have been 8 years ago or something like that. And it's scary when you don't have any shelter and the sky's booming and there's lightning and there's rain coming down and it's scary. And you start looking up at the limbs, everything's creaking, and all it takes is one limb to fall and you're dead. So this is kind of what I visualize for Chance.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason why, I sit out back and I had 2 pecan trees, one on either side of the back porch. And we had these thunderstorms that rolled through here in Oklahoma. I sit here and go, well, should I go in? Or am I going to get struck by lightning today? That's just the thought that I have with it. Is should I go in or should I play with it?
Yeah, like I don't know the area. I've not checked the map. But if you're telling me, like, what was it? It does sound like it's out there, maybe west of town where there aren't any houses and everything. And he's out there. Where's he going to go? You don't realize how small you are until a storm kicks up and you got nowhere to hide. That's when you start really contemplating your existence. So, I don't know. Yeah, I will just say from a unfound point of view, and of course we had Shanna Boydo a couple months ago, and that was a little bit of a surprise. I got that one wrong, but this one, to me they're always kind of a surprise when one of these. I cannot make predictions on these things. Which one's going to be solved next? Impossible to do. Impossible to do. So, yeah.
Oh, wow, Lisa. See, I guess I don't know. Whenever I've always went hiking, it's always been me with the crowd, not me by myself. Just one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, if Monday I would have had a crowd with me, I wouldn't have almost gotten bit by the dog. Oh yeah, I almost got bit by a pit on Monday, Ed.
I
Like,
thought animals loved you, Dee.
yeah, this one doesn't like anybody. Like, we saw it go after 5 different people as we were waiting for the cops to show up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. The cops don't see any of it. They just see it, hear
Sorry
me.
to hear that, Dee.
Dog, huh?
I was bit by a dog, but it wasn't anything like that. Like when we had a dog, we had a West Highland White Terrier who had been abused before we got it, and we never were able to get it to a point where it was a nice dog again. And it bit me a couple times. It bit me in the face right here, bit me on my hand. Luckily, it was just a West Highland White Terrier and wasn't a pit bull. I'd have been in big trouble.
Yeah. And I'm hoping my neighbor, when he comes home this weekend, has video footage so that way if the cops didn't do something about the dog, I can get a hold of them, find out if something has been done or not, and see what needs to be done about the dog. Especially with video evidence,
Yeah.
Because I don't want to cause a problem with the neighbor, but here's my thing. My son waits at the bus stop at the same corner I was almost attacked by the dog. So it don't make me feel too safe in the mornings walking him up there.
No.
So that's just how my days or my weeks went.
And when we think about other disappearances, doesn't even have to be unfound disappearances, but when we think about these people who have disappeared in like our national forests, things, it's the same thing. Of course, I've talked about this before, and I always bring David Paulides and all that. It's the same kind of thing that these people go off and they're out there and they got their new hiking equipment and they got this and their new tent and they've never gone hiking before and we're going to go have fun in a national park. And they forget all about the weather and these other things. And I guess I could believe that some of those people have disappeared due to the weather as well. Storms could kick up. Some of the national parks are so big. A storm could kick up in one of them and nobody else outside of the park would ever know.
True.
So, yep, that's one, where I think weather played, I got to believe for now, a huge factor.
In him going missing.
Yeah, just bad timing. And in fact, the episode was even called When the Wild Wind Blew. That was the name of the episode. A lot of guys. You see, I don't know, my perception, it seems like a lot of guys go missing like this, that they have some blow up with a girlfriend or something and storm out, never to be seen again. Of course, sometimes you could believe that some of them were foul play. But that's what, Dee, do you know the disappearance of Eric Pratt, Pracht, disappeared in Colorado some years ago? He was the EMT. He was there with his fiancée, and they had a couple over, had a little party or something, and then he walked off during the party, never to be seen again. Does that ring a bell to you at all?
No.
His parents, I talked to his parents a couple times. They never did appear on Unfound, but he was eventually found deceased, but he had walked off and committed suicide just because he and his fiancée, and they had a disagreement over something. He just walked off and shot himself. And, you get all wound up. Young people get wound up about their relationships and things. Just no good.
And I've always been that female. I guess I'm the only female out here like that. I swear to God. If you're going to leave, you're going to leave.
Guy, don't go away, man. Just go away.
Yeah. Don't go harm yourself. But if you want to go, go. Don't make me feel like I'm the bad person for holding you back. Because I'm not. Just know. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, how can you be that way? do not love the person. No, I love them. I'm just not going to be destroyed time after time after time because someone got into their feelings and decided they wanted to leave. You know.
Now, what I forget about his disappearance, I don't remember if his wife ever did go and drive around. You know, when he didn't come back in 10 minutes, you know, I don't remember if she actually went, you know, driving around trying to find out where he was, because people remember this disappearance. He was found on 2 different video systems in that town. One was a doorbell cam. I forget what the other one was. Maybe it was another doorbell cam. But he was walking around by himself, and I don't know. I mean, he was out in the streets for quite a while after he seemingly walked off from his in-laws. You know, this is a lesson for all you relationship people. It's easy for me to talk since I'm a single guy and everything. But here's what I know. If you are married and your husband or wife gets in an argument with your in-laws and that person storms off walking down the street, you better not take your in-laws' side.
Yep.
Don't do that. Okay? That doesn't mean you have to support whatever happened, but if your husband or wife storms off down the street and doesn't come back in 10 minutes, you have a moral duty to get in your car and go find him or her.
I go, well, they'll come back.
Or whatever are going to give you crap and everything else. Your loyalty is the person to which you made the vows, like it or not. You can sort it out later. I can't remember. I'm not saying she didn't do that, but that's the way I view relationships. And even though I've never been married or anything, you start taking your in-laws' side against your significant other, you are asking for trouble.
Elisa corrected us. They drove around. I think one video was a business, the other was little downtown.
Yeah, maybe they did drive around, but I'm just saying, I don't specifically. If she did that, fine. But for sure. Now, why they didn't track him down, of course, some people might think they did track him down. I'm not getting into that.
Yeah, we ain't going there just yet.
No.
Until there's something else that comes up, and then we can go there.
Yeah. We got to do these things.
We got to do it the right way.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to ruin your marriage and everything by taking your in-laws' side. You're taking your parents' side. Bad news.
Well, taking your family side, period, in an argument like that is not a good idea.
No. Nope. I mean, of course, once again, in the moment, he storms off. I'm guessing everybody, even the people who were arguing with him, were thinking, he'll come back in 10 minutes. You know, he'll come back, and then he doesn't come back. Yeah. Too young. Too young.
I know whenever I read something, which I have a whole book printed out from him, it does state that they drove around, but it doesn't state when with Chance's case. And I know it was her grandfather who drove around, because that was on the Charlie Project.
Okay. She should have been driving around.
She should have been doing the looking.
Yeah.
Like I said, I printed out a whole book.
We want to talk about Terra Calico now?
Oh, yeah. We can go right on in Terra Calico. I have her ready for us. I guess I can go ahead and take down Chance's photo. There we go. Okay, so anyone who doesn't know Terra Calico's case, she was a 19-year-old college student who vanished while bike riding near her home in New Mexico on September 20th, 1988. Her Walkman and cassette tapes or tape were found along the, and I can't help but laugh because I know me and Ed talked about this back then. There's so many Walkmans, and I know
Right.
you discussed it on your channel.
Right. I mean, yeah, I talked about this Monday night, but I'm happy to talk about it again. Yeah.
And the cassette tape were found along the road, but neither she nor the bike were ever discovered. Witnesses reported a light blue colored pickup truck following her with a camper shell. In 1989, a Polaroid showing a bound and gagged woman and a boy was found in Florida. Tara's mother believed it was her daughter.
Yeah.
Because of it, well, because there was a scar on her leg, and in the photo you could see a light spot of her thigh, which I could go pull up the photo, I guess. But in that Polaroid, you can see a light spot on the thigh. Mother's thigh is a scar. So I'm just putting that out there. That was something I did find. The boy was later rolled out as not being the kid that they
Right.
originally thought was the little boy in the Polaroid, which we'll get to that in just a moment. One suggestion that I did find that was a big suggestion was local teens may had accidentally killed Tara and covered up with help from their families. In 2023, the Valencia County Sheriff Office claimed to have identified suspects and submitted their case to the district attorney, but as of September 2025, no arrests have been made. FBI is offering a $25,000 or $20,000 reward, and the case remains open.
Yes.
Tara is the subject of one of New Mexico's most enduring cold cases, having disappeared during a bike ride on September 20th, 1988. The 19-year-old vanished along her usual bike route on Highway 47 near, is it Benningly? Belen?
Bellin.
Belen. And her case has been marked by the mysterious Polaroid and alleges a cover-up despite the new developments announced by law enforcement in 2023. But the case remains unsolved.
Yep.
Tara allegedly left the house around 9:30 a.m. on Monday on her mother's neon pink bicycle. She was last seen approximately 11:45 a.m. Suspicious vehicle witnesses reporting the sighting of a light-colored pickup truck, possibly a 1953 Ford, with a camper shell following Calico shortly before she disappeared. Evidence on the roadway later that day, police discovered fragments of a Calico Sony Walkman and cassette tape scattered along the road, suggesting a struggle. Her family believes she may have left the items as a trail. The Polaroid in July of 1987, a disturbing Polaroid was found in a convenience store parking lot in St. Joe, Florida, showing an unidentified young woman with a boy bound and gagged in the back of the van.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. But I've also done some research with this, me going down the Calico Trail. And I don't know if I actually printed it or not. Oh no. But there was a couple of serial killers that were active in that area too.
Mm-hmm.
I do know. So, I mean, it leads me to think, I don't think that photo was her. I will.
Not her. Not her. In fact, I had, this is how people can be so selective with things. I left it there. Everybody can go see it for the live show. Somebody commented, "Oh, that's definitely her." Even Scotland Yard, looked at the photo and said that, "Oh, it's definitely Tara." Yeah, you can. That's true, but anytime Scotland Yard wants to come to the United States and solve her disappearance, it can. The FBI, which is, I don't know if it's responsible, but it could be. The FBI looked at that photo from down here in Florida and said, no, it's not Tara. So it's a wash.
I was going to bring up the Scotland Yard saying it was, and then,
right.
Our FBI saying no, no, ma'am.
Right. I think it was some sort of hoax, some, practical joke. I realized that, some other issues like this popped up afterwards. Sounds like all like copycat things to me.
And I think whoever knew about her being missing, also whoever took the Polaroid photo, may have even known that she liked the book that was laying beside her, considering that was one of her favorite writers.
I just don't know what was known about her. Remember, this is well before the internet. Mm-hmm. I don't know what was known about her at the time of her disappearance. You have to remember that photo was found like 8-9 months later. Would that be something that they would put out about Tara, that she liked a particular book? Maybe today, with the internet, and people could say, well, but back then, would that be in a news story, which is really the only way somebody would know something like that? It seems unlikely, but on the other hand, V.C. Andrews was one of the most popular authors during the 1980s because of Flowers in the Attic. Mm-hmm. Even I read Flowers in the Attic.
Oh, you're probably the only one on this panel.
So, if I read it, given that I'm not prone to reading those types of books because I know what it's about, these kids being hidden up in this attic or something like that. I was more of a Stephen King fan back then. If I read it, then that means a lot of people read it, and there were a lot of books out there. It just doesn't mean anything. It's just, it's like, it's in a white cargo van. Well, of course it's a white cargo van. It, couldn't be a purple one.
Or a pink one,
Yeah, yes.
Couldn't have been a normal color. It has to be white.
Regarding Tara's disappearance, and I could not find anything in my own preparation for the live show on Monday that anybody put forth the idea that I put forth on Monday, that I'm kind of convinced that those really weren't bike rides. I think that she was on her bike, but she wasn't doing no 36 miles. I think she was going
to doing 36 miles, but in a completely different way.
I think that she was maybe biking a few miles to somebody's house. And I think that's why that why didn't she get her bike? How long was she going to use her mother's bike? Why on that particular day, if her own bike had a bad tire, why couldn't she go take that time to get her own bike fixed? If she had time to go biking, she had time to go get her own bike fixed. These are the things that pop up to me. She was going to ride 36 miles, then play tennis with her boyfriend. She sure is energetic for a 19-year-old. And then she was going to go to work as well at 4:00. There's just something about all of that. My impression, no facts to back it up, but my perception of this is we've kind of seen some stories like this for disappearances or even murders, where we find out that the guy or the woman wasn't really doing what he or she said. No different than the guy saying that, I'm staying late at work, and really he's not staying late at work. because it just, if it were at night and it was some back road or something, this was not. It was daytime on a somewhat major road in the area. What, somebody just ran her off the road and then threw her and the bike. It just happened to have a vehicle that would be able to fit the bike in it. Man, that sounds like a lot of work and a lot of preparation and everything.
Well, if it was more than one person, I could see it happening.
It could, but you still need a vehicle that could you throw if it was a pickup truck, could you throw the bike in the back? Yes, but how long does that take? And you just happen to be when no other cars are around, and you don't exactly know when she's going to be going out for this bike ride, and it just sounds like too many variables.
Yeah, I get that. And that was one of the things I was like, I'm going to read this, but I'm trying not to laugh while I'm reading it. Ed, please don't laugh at me. Because it was one of the things that came up.
If I want to, and you can laugh at me too.
I mean, the only other thing that I found interesting was the fact that after they figured out that it wasn't Michael, whoever it...
Henley was his name.
They had another young gentleman that's been missing. This is me doing research and studying. From Alaska, if I can find it again. Here we go. David Borer.
Borer. I don't know.
Yeah. Missing from Alaska, April 19th of 89, which was a few months before the Polaroid was found in Florida. Which was the fun thing about, me deep diving into cases. I find other cases.
Yep, that's how it works.
And he was... Let's see here. Did I get much about him? Just that he was from Alaska. That's about it. And he went missing around the same time the photo was found. But there was no links to Tara or to Florida, with him even. I think you're probably right. And I think whoever did demise of Tara knows they did it. And I think it happened at a house.
What's disgusting is over the years how the police have come out and said, "Oh yeah, we know. Oh yeah, we're working on it. We sent stuff to the DA, and nothing ever comes of it." What a bunch of idiots.
Well, it's like someone asked me, "Have I been looking at Molly and Colt's case?" And I'm like, "It is stagnant. Why would I look at it? There's nothing to look at. I've went over it. Ed's went over it. Arctic's went over it. Doodle, I think at one point might have went over Molly's case. Me and Mama Bear have talked behind the scenes about Molly and Colt's case. Everyone that I know that I talked to, we've discussed the case. And I'm like, there's nothing really to discuss, though, until something turns up.
Yep.
And I think Molly and Colt's case is a lot like Chance's.
Could be.
Except for adding drugs into the mix, where they probably were adding beer or something into the mix where he went missing.
Could be.
Which might have not helped with tempers.
Right. Once again, this is one of those things also that the perception versus the reality.
Yeah.
Since this all happened to Tara in 1988, how many, I don't know what the facts are, but in the last, or would that be 37 years, how many women do you think have been riding bikes on roads, knocked off their bikes by a car, and the woman and the bike were shuttled away? How many times do you think that? I would be shocked in a country of over 300 million people, which half of those are women, and probably 150 million women, and how many of those would have been adults? 110 of them or something like that. 100 like 2/3 of them or something like that. Out of 100 million women over the last 37 years, how many have been knocked off their bikes, kidnapped, and the bikes taken too? If it's more than 10 where it's actually been proven that way, I would be shocked. I would be shocked. Do women get attacked? Yes. They get off their bikes and get in. Yes, but both woman and bike, it seems unlikely. This is why I reject the.
I'm going to mute myself. I'm getting the train.
Yeah, let's wait.
And are they coming to take you away?
Oh, I hope so, D. Get a break. I could get some good writing and stuff done in jail for a little bit, as long as I didn't have to bend over for the soap. Probably get some good writing and stuff done. Chill me out for a little bit. But like I said, I will stick by the idea that they're trying to sell the idea that she got accosted or something and that she and the bike got taken. I'm telling you, that type of crime in the United States has to be so rare. So rare. Whereas there's a lot more instances of women and men going behind their significant others' backs, going to their mistress's house, to the other guy's house, and something bad happening there. There's way more of that than there are women and their bikes disappearing together. That's how I look at it.
Well, as you can tell, the train is now approached.
Man, it's taken a while. It must be going, what, 1 mile per hour or something, D?
Oh, I really am starting to think whoever the conductor is listening to the show and passing it. Because we had one come through, and I muted out because we were talking about Chance and you were talking.
Yeah.
And it came through, but it was very, very stagnated on how long it beeped his horn and everything. This was coming through, and it's just being totally mean to me tonight. Because I know he hasn't went past the crossway down here.
Mm-hmm.
So he might be switching tracks, though, because we have a switch here that they do. So,
Okay.
I know.
Yeah, Calico, given that my impression is they have looked at this disappearance the wrong way, it's no surprise to me that it's still unsolved. I realize that there are a lot of tough disappearances out there, ones that may never be solved, even if they would have been looked at correctly from day one. This is one of those where I think the reason it's unsolved is just because they had the wrong perception, and really maybe because people didn't want to open their minds up to that. Well, she had a boyfriend and she was a nice girl and she was conscientious and she was this and she was that. No way could she have been going to see some other guy. That means nothing. It means nothing.
I agree with you.
That's the way I feel about Jennifer Kessie too, which I know is once again a controversial idea that I do not believe anywhere close to a majority of people think. In fact, I know that my opinions on her.
Which one's Jennifer Kessie?
That's the woman who went missing over in Orlando, and allegedly, the popular theory is that she got abducted while she was leaving her apartment that morning, and then her car was parked at another apartment complex down the street. And there was a video of somebody dropping it off, but unfortunately, due to the camera and the way it took pictures, it never caught the person's face. So really, you can't even tell if it's a guy or a girl. But with Jennifer Kessie, I've thought this for 20, I don't know, not 20 years because that's how old her disappearance, maybe at least 15 years, that she disappeared the night before because she was going to see some other guy, even though she had a fiance. This is the way we have to be when it comes to disappearances. We can't rule things out because we think that, well, this person is too good to do that. We can't do that. This is why, when we look at Chance Engelbert having problems with his in-laws, and we talk about drugs and mental health and everything else, it all has to be included. All the imperfections of a person and human nature need to be analyzed. So, that's Terra Calico. That's where I am. Even though I've looked at it before, but just within the preparing for the live show, I actually took time to look at the map and everything, and I'm like, the odds of somebody accosting her and stealing her bike and everything, it's just not very likely. On top of that, what are the odds that they would do it just when she happens to be riding her mother's bike?
Yeah. Well, my thing is I know people who have very, very strong workout routines, but even with that, if their tire was flat, I don't think they'd be jumping on someone else's bike to ride it because it would take too much time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I looked at that on Monday. Huffy, they called it a mountain bike, but I would call it more like an all-terrain bike. 36 miles is a long way for anybody. It's not really necessarily a dirt bike, and it's not a road bike either. It's not a 10-speed, with the little skinny tires, in 15 gears or something. I mean, what's she doing?
Well, see, I would have one question. What type of bike did she have?
You have to know that.
If we knew that might help a little.
Might. Like I said, the first thing, if I were to talk to her family, maybe her parents are deceased now, I don't know. But the first question, I would be wanting to know everything and anything about these bike rides that she was taking. Tell me everything that you can tell me about these bike rides. Did she ever break down? Did she go to the same route every day? How long did it usually take? Because the whole thing about her telling her mother, if I'm not home by noon, make sure you come find me. Well, how about you just be conscientious and make sure you know what time it is?
Well, my question is how would the mother know where to go find her?
Well, I mean, I suppose if she were taking the same route every day, then yes, that might be easy to do. But it just sounds weird. I realize this is before cell phones and everything. She didn't wear a watch. She's on her bike ride. She couldn't stop in at some store that she passed to see what time it was. If she was taking on this bike ride every day, she would certainly know how long it took. She couldn't just shorten it a little bit. To me, that was a tell, and I didn't get to mention this during the live show, but I think she told her mother that because she was, I'm going to say it again, I think she was going to meet some other guy, and maybe she was afraid that this guy might not let her leave on time, and so she was told she wanted to have the credibility of saying, I need to be out of here by this time or my mother's going to come looking for me. Pretty sure.
But Ed, you were an 80s child. Did you wear watches?
No, I didn't, but I have my reasons. I was a piano player, and I hated anything on my wrists. To this day, I don't wear watches. Never. So, but on the other hand, somehow, though, I was still able to keep time in the 1980s. I never have had a reputation of being late for anything.
Well, and I had to ask that question because I'm an 80s child too.
Yeah.
You guys see what's not on my wrist?
Yeah, I see that. No,
I
never
was a CNA.
Never wore a Swatch or whatever those,
Nope.
stylish watch. Never.
Nope.
No.
I kept time on my phone or it come to counting down patients' heartbeats.
Yeah. So somehow I was able to keep time and not be late and everything else. It all just sounds fishy to me. Lisa says I had a swatch. Lisa, that doesn't surprise me at all. But in fact, I will tell you, Lisa and Dee, that I've actually, given what went on Monday night, now that we're talking about it again, I am actually motivated to send a message to the police department responsible for disappearance and, telling them to get their heads out of their butts and try something new.
Okay.
Thinking about it.
Okay, how many times have you sent these type of... Maybe this explains why I was never interviewed a police officer. How many times have you thought about sending these type of letters?
Couple times, not very many. Couple times. Couple times.
Only a couple times.
Couple times. Couple times. When I feel overtly motivated and miffed. When I think that things just
They just
come to a head, and it just the water finally washes over the protective wall. The tsunami goes over the wall, and I'm like, yeah, I got to do something. I feel motivated.
I gotta say something, because if not, I'll wind up saying something I shouldn't to someone else. That's how I work. I might actually need to go ahead and step up and say something, because if I don't, someone else will catch the heat of my wrath, and then it's never pretty.
What else do you want to talk about tonight, Dee?
I don't know. I mean, what do you got planned for tomorrow? I know you said it was a surprise.
Yeah, very tomorrow. Probably one of the saddest disappearances that Unfound has ever featured. 15-year-old Benjamin Ridley from Burien, Washington, ran away from a foster home. And he grew up in a very, very dysfunctional, abusive home. His mother had mental health issues and made fun of him and abused him. And his father, they got divorced, and his father got along with Benjamin better, but his father was a scoundrel as well. And he ran away quite a few times, and had just things that probably, had he had great parents, I'm sure that Benjamin Ridley would have grown up to be a fine young man. But because he had horrible parents, he had all sorts of social issues and things. And he got put in this foster home, and the day after he got put there, he ran away, never to be seen again. He had run away many times before, and it seems on all of them, somebody would find him, the police, whoever, would bring him back.
Is this the young man that I sent the sister to you?
It may be Rose Ridley.
Yeah. Okay. That me and...
Yeah. That's...
sent to you? Okay.
Yeah. Yep, thank you for reminding me. But yeah, she did a great interview. We did it yesterday. Not a very long interview, under an hour, but there's really not a lot to talk about. And, he ran away. And did he run to his father's and back to his father's place, and something happened there? Did he run off and he was just suicidal and, jumped into a river up there in the Washington area? Did he figure out a way to manage himself? And we could only hope that happened. But there's a reason that the episode is called When Adults Fail. Because a lot of different adults failed in this disappearance, from his parents to the foster parents to the police to other government officials and people in child youth services and all those things. Little bit of failure all over the place. A bunch of adults.
Brandy Wells, any updates, Ed?
Nope, Brandy Wells went missing in Texas. Right, Brandy Wells. She went out to that. I think I'm thinking we've had a couple different disappearances where women were last name, or females with the last name Wells, but Brandy Wells went to a nightclub, left seemingly with some guy, never to be seen again. Is that the one we're talking about? But I think that's the right one. Once again, we've covered like 3 different women with the last name Wells at this point. But her car was found. Let me make sure I'm getting that right.
Missing Texas woman. I found an article from 2025.
Right. She went to that's her. She was by herself. She went to some country western bar and she was low on money. The story was that she was going from table to table asking for gas money so she could get home. And then if you watch the videotape, she exits the bar, and then right after her is some guy with a white cowboy hat. You can't see his face, but it's obvious that she walks out, he's behind her, he goes off to the left, and then she notices where he's going, and then she follows him. Never to be seen again. Her car is eventually found nearby on the highway, and her cell phone was eventually found in some neighborhood as if somebody just threw it out the window of a car.
All I can find is the video on a repeat play.
There it is. That's it. Yep. That's her going in, though. That's her right there going in. There's a video of her leaving, and like I said, the guy goes off to the left. She's going straight. He goes off to the left, and then she changes direction.
You're talking about this one.
There it is. There's the guy in the white hat. Watch. He goes there. Yeah, it doesn't show the final part. But if they were let it play, he keeps walking that direction.
I don't know. There might be. I'm going to leave my camera on. Everyone, I look like two. And that light's right.
I'm pretty sure I have it on way back on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's the only videos I can find.
Okay.
And there's a photo of her. That's all I could find.
I'm inclined to believe that she just ran into that guy and he might have thought, some woman walking around asking for money. What kind of business is she in? And might have thought that she was a sex worker or something. And, there was a misunderstanding and they get into some fight and he kills her, dumps her car there. Very sad. Best guess on that one. At least I'm always thinking about the man named Joel. Special needs guy. Oh, yeah, Joe Akridge, Lisa, yeah. Yeah, I haven't talked to his sister in a while. Yeah, right, Joe Akridge, Lisa. Seemingly went out for a walk, same time every day, never came back. Yeah, Joel Akridge. Are you there, Dee?
Yes, I'm here. I was reading.
Well, you got all quiet and stuff.
I was reading what this one had said about what part of Texas, and I was like, I thought it said Tyler, Texas. But that's not too far from.
Yeah, she went missing from Longview, Texas, but she wasn't from there. She drove what was it, an hour and a half to go to this bar or something? Just, I don't know.
Well, and what's crazy is I think of all the times I was out by myself. If it wouldn't have been for my guy friends, there's a lot of times I could have wound up in a lot of trouble. Thank God I had such good guy friends who protected me. And that's just it. If it would have been for my male friends, I probably have been missing many, many, many moons ago.
Yeah.
See, unlike Ed, I'm not the angel.
I don't even know how to respond to that, Dee.
Lisa, unlike Ed, I'm not the angel over here. You said you got a new tattoo. I thought that was cool. So.
Yes, Texas, missing from Graham Central Station. Yeah, place isn't there anymore. Yeah. Thanks. It was odd to me she was asking for money for gas, just sad for her. Yeah, I agree with you. What was she doing there if she didn't have money? Maybe it was just a way for her to strike up conversation with people, being that she was there by herself. But how often, my perception is women don't go out to bars and things by themselves very often.
No,
So that's my impression.
I didn't go too far from home by myself to bars.
Yeah.
We'll just put it that way. But the two that I went out to, one was owned by Joe Russell himself, or at least he was the bouncer at the time. And the other one, my family knew the owners of the other one that I always went to on Saturday nights. You know, it was one of those that was a family friends bar, not everything else, but it was 18 and up, and most of my friends went to it. Kids I went to school with.
Lisa says she loves my episode titles.
Yes. Some of his episode titles really make you stop and think.
I want people to get the message.
Get the point across, right?
That's right.
Well,
That's right. That's what we're trying to do.
any of us who haven't given us the thumbs up yet, go ahead and give us the thumbs up. And
Not the middle finger, the thumbs up, not the middle finger.
Hey, I'll even take a thumbs down over here. I'm good with either one.
Wow, you're very understanding, Dee.
Well, you know, it shows some type of interaction with my videos, so why would I be grouchy? They interacted with it.
Yeah, Brandy Wells. That was one that my assistant Emily has really kept track of. She's gotten to know some of Brandy's friends, and there was a roommate maybe, and then there was a guy who dated Brandy at one time. Of course, he's not a suspect, but Emily, way back when, got to talk to way more people connected to Brandy than I did.
Well, speaking of another Brandy, which Brandy's what made me think of it. I heard good news about Brandy Neal. Her liver transplant went well, and she's doing good.
I don't know her.
Monkey Vaughn's mother.
Very good. Liver transplants change people's lives. Certainly true. I had a guy that worked with at Star Trek, waited years and years and years, and he got one a year and a half ago or something. He's like a new man.
Well, I mean, if they take, they take. That's one thing I do look at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was my biggest fear is, okay, she's going in to have the surgery. What if it takes? Or what if it doesn't take? You know, if it doesn't take, how much more can her whole family take? Missing a child, missing their daughter or granddaughter or mother or whatever, niece, nephew, cousin, whatever she is to them. How much more can the family take? And that's what I was worried about during the whole transplant discussion and everything.
Granted, anybody takes transplant, like that, got to take a ton of medicine, anti-rejection medicine and everything for the rest of their lives, because these things never, it's never a perfect replacement. So, but that's better than dying.
Lisa, you should be blue now. I figure she's going to stick around. Might as well make her a mod.
You're blue. That doesn't mean you're sad, Lisa.
No, all my pretty girls have blue dresses. Well, you got to realize, Doodle has been a mod since...
Devil with a blue dress, blue dress, blue dress, devil with a blue dress on. Well,
Doodle is one of the between you and Doodle, you're my two main mods. That if anything ever happens to me, you have to talk to Death to figure out what happens to my channel.
Okay.
I'm leaving it in y'all's hands. I told him I want my channel to keep running as usual, but I want it to be really, really bad at the point once I'm gone. I don't care how humorous he makes it. God, don't let anything happen to me, because I don't mean these words. Oh, y'all are still here, huh? Are we watching a football game?
It's on in the background. Steelers are
I can see it in the
Steelers are playing tonight. Yeah.
I can see it in your.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here listening, D.
Oh, I was being a smart ass. But yes, Lisa, you're now blue.
But you know, D, funny you mentioned about some minutes ago about how have you ever contacted any police or anything? But I actually am going to be interviewing a police officer next week for an episode.
Well, I was gonna give you the police chief's name over in Davis. I talked to you about the kid. Well, while we're sitting here, I can talk to you about him again. That went missing. I call blame a kid. He's an adult from Davis, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Let me go. Find him real quick. See if I can. That's not what I was looking for. All I can find is it on Reddit, and that's not what I wanted. But it'll give the kind of the rundown on him.
Davis, Oklahoma.
His name was James Rick Larrabee, Larabee.
Mm-hmm.
He was attending a class reunion in Davis, Oklahoma on September of 2013. A few days later, on October 3rd, his sister reported him or received a text from him that stated he was going to Northwest Oklahoma for 9 days and would then return home to Texas. Estimated time, Davis is far southern Oklahoma, not in Northwest Oklahoma. So we got to keep that in mind. That is the last contact anyone had with him and his family.
Mm.
But he would not be reported missing until more than a year or 4 years later. In January 2018, apparently there was a misunderstanding, and it was believed that he had already been reported. After he was reported missing, it was discovered that Rick had approximately cashed out a 401k shortly before his initial disappearance. Investigators also learned that his car had been sold in Georgia in April 2015. That is almost 2 years after his family last heard from him. His Texas issued driver's license expired in 2016 and was not renewed.
Well, it could seem like just some guy that decided I'm out.
Well, he's still
Anymore, but
he's still listed as a missing persons case. I know I've talked to the sister, tried to get her to come over to your show. She got rude with me, and I was like, okay, I'm out.
wow.
But I know the chief of police.
You get rude. What happened?
She kept giving me the info, and I'm like, okay, I'm not the one you need to be talking to. You go ahead and email my friend Ed. He's the one that does the show.
Yeah.
Well, if you can't give him the info, then there's no. It got really, really snappy and snotty with me. I was like, dude, okay, I see you, I hear you. I'm backing away.
Okay.
But I do know the police chief of Davis. He is friends with my dad.
Okay.
I thought about reaching out to him myself
We should.
and seeing if he would be willing to come over and maybe hang out one evening and discuss the case with me and you, not just me, because I get nervous and lock up. You know what I mean?
Sure. Let's talk to him.
I'll reach out to him and find out when he could and when he would be willing to.
Okay. It just sounds like a guy went to his high school reunion and said, man, I got to do something more with my life.
Yeah, and dipped out. I mean, he was taking care of his mother who was sick with cancer. I mean, he had just quit his job, cashed out his 401k. I said, bye. I'm done.
If
Have
she
fun.
died, didn't want to be around there for that. Too much responsibility, too much emotional stuff. I'm going to change my name to John Smith and moving out.
Yep.
Could happen.
Oh, cool, Lisa. Where's he going to be at? I have to ask.
Paul McCartney.
In Oklahoma.
That's, knowing Lisa's taste, that's better than that folksy banjo or whatever stuff that you're usually listening to, Lisa. I'm not a big Beatles fan. My son bought my ticket. I'm not a Beatles fan, too. I guess I couldn't pass up the opportunity to see Paul McCartney, I guess.
Oh, well, I got you here. Amelia Hardrow, the little boy or the baby, the infant that went missing. His father, unannounced to the DA or anyone else, pled guilty third-degree murder.
I saw that.
I kind of cheered a little. I know it sounds horrible, but I cheered a little. I was like, at least he's admitting to it.
Yeah.
Just kind of curious what she's going to wind up doing.
Bad.
Hello, bluegrass.
Bluegrass. Yeah, I'm a bluegrass girl. Yeah.
Oh, Lisa, you get along great with my mother. She loves bluegrass.
I prefer mowed grass.
Oh, I guess bluegrass, though, is more closer to the old time country than what we got nowadays.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Concert's Wednesday, but I leave Tuesday. Okay, love your mom, Lisa says. All right, D, I'm out of here. We're doing this an hour and a half.
All right. Catch you later.
Good talk tonight. Good talk. Maybe I'll see you in the think tank. We'll talk about being that you were the one who brought Rose to me. I hope you can make the think tank on Sunday evening.
Yes, this Sunday I will definitely try this one.
Okay. All right. Good talking to you. Good to see everybody in here tonight. I'll see you. I'm going to the gym now. Got to get a little walking in. Go
walk.
All right. See ya.
The gym, you ain't got to worry about mean pits.
That's right. No dogs down in this gym. Later.
Okay, Lisa, love you. Thank you for joining in tonight. Good night, Lisa. Good night, everybody. Peace out.